Welcome to XRaged No Justice. I am your host, Kimberly Trapani. It is my pleasure to introduce Todd Hunt from ST Films. Welcome, Todd.
Hey, thank you, Kimberly. Great to be on your show. I've been slaying your name all week. I do apologize for it. But yeah, Kimberly, you're awesome. Great to be on here. Great to be on your show tonight. Or today, excuse me.
I was walking the streets today and waving to people, and they're like, who's that crazy lady on the streets? And I'm like, well, I have this show tonight, and I'm really excited about it. Do you have any advice for me? And it's amazing what people talk about on the streets of New York. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about you, Todd, and your background?
Okay, so that's a loaded question there. I'm glad you asked. So first of all, I'm from a little small town called Niles, Michigan. Most people don't know. It's not a suburb of Detroit. It's a little small southwestern town, farm community. Yeah, a little bit of city life, but it's not too far from South Bend, Indiana. Now, why you say that? Well, because my family, my grandmother went to school with a guy named Little Richard at Oakwood College in Alabama. Yes. And my mom played the piano. And believe it or not, my father took some acting classes. So that's kind of where I got it from. And shout out to the 269. People don't know where that is, but that's my area where AJ Parker and Sinbad are from. You know what I'm saying? You may know Sinbad a little bit. Sinbad, take care of yourself, man. We're rooting for you. And so that's how my life, started. Okay.
In Michigan. That's awesome. It's so pretty there, right?
Oh, it's gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? Trees, water. If you love trees and water, it's great. Water skiing is fantastic. I'm from Michigan. I love it. So, some people don't, but that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Those from Ohio State, but we're not going to talk about them. But, my mom went to Oakwood College, followed her mom, and she was actually, freshman year with a guy named Clifton Davis. Now, remember that name, Clifton Davis. He used to be on Amen. So
amen, hallelujah.
Yeah. yes. You'd be on the show back in the 80s there. And so she was also roommates with a lady named Beverly Black. You may not know who she is, but everybody knows her brother, who is Barry Black, who's the 62nd chaplain of the United States. So all of a sudden you started seeing this famous thing come around. Is that starting becoming a theme here, Kimberly, if you start seeing it? And at the time frame, also Philip Michael Thomas is from my college, but that's a whole nother subject. That I just had to throw that in there. So Calvin Harris, yes. Calvin Harris, who's my cousin, was a big-time sound engineer for a big-time company called Motown Records.
Wow. I've heard of Motown. I had that 45 thing, and Motown put out some of those.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they put a lot. He just worked with, some fame. He worked with a lot of famous people there. So, hearing Calvin, seeing him, and seeing your cousin on them, so you just kind of surrounded by the celebrity thing. And of course, on my dad's side, my uncle married Cap Calloway's niece. Yes, that's kind of crazy.
Wow.
So, yeah, if you don't know that, it's the Heidi Ho man. If you saw the Blues Brothers, you might have seen him in there. I didn't get a chance to meet him, but I get to hold his award though. My cousin, we'll talk about him. My cousin Michael Dungy, he met some famous people through Cab Calloway. But and then growing up in this small area, not too many people who are famous come by, Kimberly. However, there was this guy that really inspired me, who went to a school called Andrews University. Most people don't know about it, and his name is Ken McBride. Now, who's Ken McBride? It's Shy McBride. Remember our Undercover Brother? Yes. Think about that. Also, he was the principal. I forgot of that one program was on television, but I got inspired because he was a director of a choir at that time frame. I was like, man, I got the bug. So that's where I kind of got when I want to sing a little bit. Now, you're saying, where are you going with that? Well, let me go back a little bit. So in the 80s, as I'm growing up as a young adult, a young person, this guy named Clifton Davis happens to go to school at that same university. My mom brings him. I know. My mom brings him over to the house. I get a chance to see him and meet him. Wonderful guy. Shout out to Clifton Davis there. And this is before he got to Amen. He was just leaving to go there. My parents bought some furniture from his house and stuff like that before he left to go to Hollywood. But a wonderful guy. And then also at that time frame, I had a cousin. My uncle kind of got around a little bit, and his name was Sam Mitchell. You say, what's this have to do with this? Well, he played for the University of Michigan, and basketball was really big. And he played at the time where the Fab Five were there. So it was like, I know, it was kind of crazy. So you start seeing him you get comfortable being around successful people. So, then my mom said, hey, my dad graduated from Western Michigan University, and he said, son, we're going to send you like 9 hours away. So they sent me to the same school, Oakwood College, where my grandmother and my mother went. Wow. Now, why does that make a big difference? Well, I met some wonderful friends. One of my good buddies' name is Joe Kibble, sings in the group called Take Six. Yes, if you have, they won some Grammys. They work with Quincy Jones and stuff. And another
nice, not a name drop.
That's a name drop. That you asked me where did I get this acting, but we're gonna get there, folks. We're gonna get there. I told you it's gonna be a minute. But then my boy Brian Babylon, give a shout out to him. He's a comedian up there in Chicago and stuff. And God rest his soul, David Arnold. He was there I think my freshman year. He was there for because he stayed a little bit longer. But I got to see a but then. I also get my boy E.T., the hip hop preacher. If you don't know, he was the former #1 speaker in the world, one of the top speakers. That's one of my best friends too. And all these people, I kind of met. And the crazy thing about it, Kimberly, is that during this time frame, I remember my cousin Hope Anderson, who's a treasurer in Cass County. Not just name dropping there. Yeah, shout out to my cousin. I brought her down there, and this is before Brian McKnight got famous.
That is awesome. And so when knowing these people and having all these circles and networking, and we'll get a lot deeper into it, but how did you, Todd Hunt, get your start in entertainment?
No, I actually got it started in singing. That's what really happened. And I sang with this choir called Dynamic Praise. Nobody knows what that is. Some people do. Well, in certain circles, there's a Christian choir, but there's a little known dude that actually came to our concert named Kirk Franklin. And he wrote his one big hit. Well, he wrote many big hits, but one of his big hits is The Reason Why I Sang. And that night we were there because we sang a song that encouraged him to do that. And so it's like, wow. And from that choir, we went to the Arsenio Hall show in the audience, of course. We didn't sing on this program or anything like that. But that's where I really started there. And then I met one of my good friends, while I was at school there too, because I was singing in the choir and stuff. And, we were really good friends. And this sister kind of liked me that happened to be Ice Cube's first cousin.
Nice.
Yes. So from there, the Hollywood thing started to take there. And shout out to Mickey D. I call her Mickey D. Anyway, so I met Ice Cube's uncles and and his father. They met me. It was a nice situation. We'll talk about it another time, Kimberly, when you get a chance to. And in fact, that's where I sang on an album on his cousin's album and stuff with the DeBarge family and stuff. There was a Christian album, and I know it was crazy in '89.
That is so cool.
So that's kind of how I got started now. But you're saying, well, Todd, how in the world did you get involved? So we're going to fast forward. We're going to jump over some steps over here. So I moved to the 757. If you don't know where that is, that's the Hampton Roads. For those of you, give a shout out to the Hampton Roads, okay?
Shout out Hampton Roads.
Yes, we're going to give a shout out to the Hampton Roads. The home of Pharrell and Missy Elliott and Timbaland, okay? But there, my wife, she had her cousin stayed with us, and I hated the dude she was dating, and they wanted to be an actor. So what happened was I went to acting class. I was harassing my acting classes, and I started to like acting classes. And there I met a wonderful group of people. I had a great acting coach, very important, Marlon Hargraves. You may not know who he is.
Shout out Marlon.
Shout out to my man Marlon.
Very important.
That's right. But I think this guy named Jermel Simon. Mm-hmm. He was also a part of the acting class. You see him on the Upshaws. So you can start to see what's happening. So from that, I was taking acting classes, doing some theater or, hood theater, however you want to call it. Whatever you want to call it.
That's so cool. How old were you when you started? Like, can you tell me your age then?
I'm in my 40s at that point.
Wow. So you're never too old to start in film and acting? That's
Right.
interesting to me. So you met these circles of people. You
Mhm.
met Ice Cube,
Ice Cube's dad and his uncles.
his family.
Yeah, his family. I was supposed to meet him, but I kind of left before that happened.
Okay, so you start getting involved in these acting classes, and what happens next?
So I start getting on. I get the bug. I'm just really enjoying it, and then I get into this one play working with Deatra Hicks. She worked with Tyler Perry and Bow-Legged Lou, who was in House Party. Okay, we did a play together, and that was kind of fun. So it's like, wow, this is fun. The name dropping is not what I want to do. It's just the fact that you have fun doing something. Things tend to open up for you because you enjoy it and you just meet people. I like meeting people. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter if you're famous or not.
Yes.
And from there, I mean, it just got crazy. You know what I'm saying? From there. So basically, I was doing that. And then I got on a film called Employee of the Year as a background person. You know what I'm saying? And so that was kind of fun. Like, oh, that was cool and stuff. And then also I was like, that'd be fun to do movies. And then I met a manager in DC. Shout out to my girl Ronnie. And she got us in this thing called Whispers. And she got us in this movie called The Mother's Daughter.
Yes, absolutely. We've been playing that a little bit.
Yeah, we were playing a little bit. And so that's on the set. That's where I met my good friend Coreleone the Don. Shout out to my man.
Coreleone!
Vega Don, that's my boy right there. Excuse me, my man right there. You know what I'm saying? And that's how. And also during that time frame, I met one of my other good friends, who's my manager, Charles Kane, who works with a lot of used to work for famous comedians back in the day. And one of the comedians that he happened to work with is Mike Washington and Willie Brown. Willie Brown's been in some movies out there. You see him in Showtime. I think I forgot which one. I don't want to misquote it there, but he has the puppet. But he was on Def Comedy Jam. But Mike Washington, that was my dude, and we're also on Whispers. And so we just had this wonderful relationship. And so then we start making films.
That is so awesome. Yeah. And we're going to play that sizzle reel a little later. But let's talk about A Mother's Daughter for a minute.
Yeah.
And there's some hard topics there. And as you know, the drug epidemic is like close to my heart. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me about what you learned on set of A Mother's Daughter and what takeaways that you would give for our audience?
Unfortunately, I had some uncles that got into drugs. Mm-hmm. And drugs never really end in a happy way, especially when you do the hardcore ones. I mean, you may survive your 20s, but it will always catch up with you. And that's what people don't know. The addiction is real. And so being on the set for A Mother's Daughter, and having to relate to people who have had drug addiction or get caught up in drug addiction. Most people don't wake up in the morning and say, hey, I want to get caught up on drugs. I mean, have you ever heard a kid say, I want to be a druggie when I grow up? No, it usually happens because you want to fit in. And I think that was the thing that really is that you want to fit in. So you have that pressure of, hey, I want to fit in. I don't want to look weird. So I'm going to go along. And that's the one thing I caught away with The Mother's Daughter is that if you happen to see the movie, here's a young lady that gets caught up. And what does caught up mean? Well, you weren't raised, you were taught something different, but you're just doing it to fit in. And I'm telling people it's okay not to fit in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And you play a preacher. Can you tell me a little bit about that role and what part you feel you played and what you depicted on screen?
Great question there, Kimberly. When I originally tried out for this role, and we'll talk more about, when you try to get the character, what you think in your head or how you think this character is going to be, you really got to understand what the director's direction is or what they perceive it as. That's what a lot of people don't understand. I'm trying to bring it to life, but I got to do what the director says. Todd, I really want it like this. And what happened was, even though a lot of people like my original pastor on the set, they had a different vision. So I had said, well, what's that vision? And I had to actually do more studying because, hey, Todd, we want this pastor like this and this pastor like that. We need you to bring both of those two together. And that's kind of what you see in this film is that I'm bringing two different pastors together that I had to study for, as well as learn my lines to put those things together to make this pastor happen where he was believable. And so, and so it was a lot of fun doing it, but you have to be believable. I like to fall into my character first. Then the lines become a lot easier because now I'm in character mode, and I don't want to rush ahead, but yeah, that's what I really, really, really pulled away from was the depth of what they perceived as character. And when I studied what kind of pastor they wanted, it came out really, really well.
I'm an executive producer, and I get it, and being on set. How long did it take for you to film as a preacher for A Mother's Daughter?
How long it took to film? Believe it or not, it was like a month. It was the craziest thing because, what people don't understand about film, depending on your budget, if you're on a low budget, your location time is really, really short. And if you miss your opportunity, you may do that same scene at a different location. In this case, that's what happened. We started off in one location and something went wrong with the sound. If you're on the set, it happens. So they had to bring us back and they put us to a totally new location to do it. So I had to be ready twice. And so that was kind of hard because you got to get in the mode, you got to get in the same person and present that same character on screen and do it twice. That was really, really hard. But, you just kind of have to go with it when you're on those kind of budgets and stuff and just like, hey, be ready for anything. So,
it's funny because I can relate to this being on set and a lead in a film and having to go through all these takes and all that kind of thing. How do you rehearse and remember lines and get into character without flubbing it up?
Well, flubbing, you really want to know. It depends on the director. Some directors want you to do exactly what it says. You got to be more on point, and you got to really learn your lines, right? But like I said, I like to start off with character because if I get the character first, the lines of what you want me to do become easier because it comes second nature to me because I'm already in character. I know what the fight is in the scene. Every scene has a fight. You know what I'm saying? So when you go in, you're like, what's the fight? What's the character trying to do in this scene? It's not like you have a person being a total jerk throughout the whole entire movie. No, nobody wakes up, Kimberly, and says, I want to be a jerk. I just want to be a jerk for the rest of my life. Even jerks don't want to be jerks. So there's a likability you have to bring to a human piece of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I try to get into. And then I have to learn my lines. And that's how I kind of do it. I got to know what the scene is. I got to know what the fight is. I got to know who I'm talking to, understand where the camera angles are at. Am I sitting down, standing up? You got to be ready for it. And I really work out before I go on set, because your body has to be in tune to whatever, because you're going to be on the set for some long hours. Sometimes you'll just be sitting around. But for that one take, it may take 10 minutes, but it may take all day to do it. You can't blow it. How's the sun look? I mean, I don't want to get too much into it. There's a lot of stuff that happens. That people don't realize that if you blow your lines or you don't remember or you get lost in the moment, it happens, right? But if you do it too many times, they got to feed you your lines. They're like, dude, we're just trying to get through this whole scene over here. Next, they probably ain't calling you back after that because you didn't come professionally ready to handle that. And that practicing and working with your partner and stuff to make that believable is so important. I just can't stress. I mean, I'm sorry for getting too mouthy on here, Kimberly, but
no, you're great. You're amazing. And we're going to roll your sizzle reel in just a minute. But when I went to film a full-length movie, I showed up with the cameras and I showed up and I was all ready. I was all geared up to do it. I had all my lines memorized. Everything was set up. We coordinated with Congress on a location. It was an ice skating scene. We were going to pay the people that day. And we show up and the ice skating rink where we were supposed to go skating on was not ice. It was like a pool of water. So I'm like, we got to wrap this day. This isn't going to work for the scene. So we have to go through and all the hair and the makeup and the lines all over again on a different day when things don't go as planned.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Todd, goes into a quality performance, interacting with the other characters on set? And can we talk a little bit about the character development piece of
Wow.
this?
That, Kimberly's a great point there, because stuff always happens on the set. Even million-dollar budgets, when I've read in some of my friends, it just happens. You have to be totally prepared for anything that comes your way, whether it's a fly zooming in there, a bird, bats, or whatever happens. It wasn't planned, something booming in the background. You got to stay in character. You got to be ready to do your performance with no matter what's around you. And I think people, you almost got to be Teflon, Hey, Todd, we want you to go like this time. It's an awkward position, but, okay, I'll do this. Why do I do this? Well, it's how the camera looks. Okay, no problem. I'll stay at this thing. I'll do my lines. And that's what you want. Or the lighting. Hey, Todd, we want you to turn you this way over here. Kind of awkward. My audience is over here, but that's where the camera angle's at. And so you just got to be ready to know your lines and be in character so much that no matter what position they put your body in, no matter what position they put the line, no matter what's happening on the set, you are ready to do your performance, even if it takes all day. Because you know what? If you do it really good, you may do it 1 or 2 takes. If you're having a rough day, which you don't really want to do too much, you know what I'm saying? You got to keep on doing it and doing it and doing it until whatever they're trying to get is right. And that's the part right there. You got to do it until the job is done. And you got to be able to be flexible. That's the one thing I learned, because the director says, you know what? They're playing with you. Because sometimes you do exactly what they want. Like, I like that. But let's try this over here. Can you just do this time? Can you be an angry Todd or a happy Todd doing the same thing? That's what you got to practice.
Absolutely and definitely. And A Mother's Daughter is a full-length feature, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, a little over an hour. And how do you interact with the characters on the set? Do you all get together and do a round table and do table readings?
Yes.
Or we talk about that a little bit? What goes into a rehearsal? What goes into mastering a performance?
Okay, so what usually happens, a table read, for my audience out there, table read is one of the most important things. First of all, you're probably seeing it for the first time. You're probably reading it, and they're saying, okay, Todd, we have this character, just read it. Okay, I'm reading it. Okay, do you feel the character? Do you know what's happening with this character? How's the interaction happening? Okay, sometimes the director will play with you. Hey, can I try? Because they're trying to see, can I get something out of his guy over here? Can he be this other person for me? Or can he be this type of person? Or can he introduce something special? Because you're really looking at the camera for special moments. So those table reads are very, very important, because at the time, most directors I work with, they're playing around and experimenting with me on the it's kind of interesting. They're playing with me and they're like, okay, Todd, okay, fine. How you interact with the other person, right? It's very important, because you're not always going to be a hard type. Can you be the straight character, right? You're not going to be funny all the time. Can you be the straight guy to, make the comedy work, right? So you got to know your place. You're not always going to be on A charge. You're going to sometimes be a C role, but that C role is so important, even if it may be one line. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? It's how you do the yes, sir. Is it believable when you say yes, sir? Because it's the whole complex and the whole thing. So as you're developing that thing, it all goes into, okay, now, sometimes they do blocking. I've been on different sets where they do that, where, hey, we're going to get on set. Can you kind of do this and kind of go over your lines a little bit and kind of get the angle? Some of them, you just got to be ready. Here's your spot. Here's your stuff. Go for it. But if you didn't study your lines, didn't work with the character, if you didn't try to get the type of scene that they want out, the whole idea is, did I get, is it believable? Did I make a believable character where you're like, man, you didn't see Todd Hunt, you just saw, that's a pastor.
And we're gonna go to the sizzle reel in just a minute, but can you give me your 60-second elevator pitch on what A Mother's Daughter is?
Okay, A Mother's Daughter is about a young lady who's experiencing life for the first time outside her mom. She's disobeying her mom, and she falls in love with a dude that basically is not good, and she gets caught up, like we talked about before, and then she ends up doing something, I won't get the spoiler away, something deadly wrong, and then she finds herself in a perplexed situation where she needs to get some healing, and then she comes back to God. Sounds like a Tyler Perry movie. It's not quite, but it's a redemption movie that I think you'll enjoy.
Awesome. We're going to roll that right now. When we come back with Todd, we appreciate your time, Todd. We're going to talk more about filmmaking.
Is that what I think it is?
Now this is the miracle drug.
Good morning, saints of God. Good morning, congregation. Come on, saints of God. Come on, saints of God. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be what? Glad in it. Come on, let's sound like you're meeting here. Church, we are so privileged this morning to have our daughter Christina back with us. Come on, saints.
Good morning, family. Good morning. It is a privilege and a blessing, and it is such an honor that I stand before you here today. I was tempted into a world. And please, April, please, I just really need a friend right now.
Christina, I know this has been a rough 3 years, but our prayers have kept you safe.
Thank you, Mama. I'm looking forward to my parole hearing tomorrow, and I have faith that I am coming home.
Welcome back to XRaged No Justice. I am your host, Kimberly Trapani. We are super blessed to have Todd Hunt with us. And most people don't realize in America that we have an overdose death problem in America, and it's growing. It's ranging. When I first started out working on recovery from drugs with the legislators, we were at like a 70,000 overdose death rate. Now it's over 100,000. It's growing. It's out of control. And the legislators that I've worked with are well aware, but we have a lot of political things going on right now. And I don't want to get into a political conversation, but Todd mentioned earlier about the issues with the drug epidemic and how serious this can be. Todd, what are they talking about in A Mother's Daughter with the daughter and the person in the car? Can you tell me a little bit about that scene?
Okay, a little bit about that scene. That particular scene, she gets introduced to drugs. Most people get introduced to drugs because, hey, a friend simply says, try this. Well, you're feeling awkward. This is a person that you want to impress. And so you try it. And then unfortunately, a lot of times you get hooked on it. Sometimes you'll die from it. Sometimes you'll find yourself in the hole from it. You know, there's a reason why just say no means something, right? Sometimes just don't do it is the best thing. Otherwise, you'll be fighting for the rest of your life with the addiction part, you know. And once Pandora's box is open, you wish you never would have done it. And a lot of people overdose because they just want to call life done. You know, I'm sick of fighting this thing. You know, I tried to stop. I was sober for X amount of weeks and I fell off the wagon. The point is not to fall off the wagon. The point is to keep getting up and trying every day. If you do fall off, fight it. Get back up and say, I'm going to stop again. Yes.
When you got the role as a pastor, how did you prepare for that? Did you have to go to church? Did you read the Bible? Let me know about that. How did you develop the preacher character?
You know, actually, that was fairly easy because I do work. I'm actively involved in my church, so I work with young people. I do this all the time. So for me, that part of it wasn't too weird. However, like I said, for the kind of pastor they wanted me to be, I had to study for that kind of pastor. And so that part of it, I had to look at certain pastors, even get their mannerism. So when I know my part, I had to do what they would do. You know what I'm saying? Even when they comfort, this is the way that pastor they wanted me to comfort. That part of it, I had to really study for and work on and actually practice. Look in the mirror. Did I get this angle right? That was the kind of thing that I had to do, and still be in context of what the movie was doing. That was a lot of work on that.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because, like, I walk into church sometimes, and I'm like, okay, well, I was just on set, and we said the F-bomb. Should I pay for forgiveness for that? It's like it almost gets to a point where it's like, well, we're in the entertainment business. We're gonna curse sometimes, or we're gonna do all these things, and then we have to go in and genuflect in the pew. Did you feel like a little awkward playing a preacher and then going on and doing your acting classes?
Like I said, for me, I have a no curse policy, but this is my philosophy. If I act very, very well, you won't even know that if I never said it, you'll feel like I said it. It's like I deal with a lot of my comedian friends. Some of them curse, some of them don't curse, right? But the real funny ones can make you laugh. And you'll feel like, wow, he never said the F-bomb or anything, but man, that was funny. But that's real funny to me. You know what I'm saying? And real acting is, I can make you feel like, man, Todd just cursed me out, and I never cursed you out. Like it, man. You put them lines like, man, I felt like he just chewed my behind out. And so that's what you want to practice on, like I said. But that's just, like I said, that's the kind of thing you do. You can act in a way where, wow, he didn't say it, but man, I felt it. Or I thought he said it.
And I know, like, when Coreleone goes on set, I know there's cursing on those music videos. So, yeah, so life, it's like a fine line between going to church and singing in the choir and what we're surrounded by in the entertainment business. Have you ever had to, like, walk out of a movie, or have your morals been compromised in any of your projects?
No, fortunately for me, I never had my morals compromised in anything I've done. And that's because, like I said, most people respect, who I am. If you want me, and if you don't want me, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that guy. But if you want me, you're going to get a great person. You're going to get some real good scenes. Yeah. And so, like I said, I've had some wonderful directors. I never, really had to worry about that because they know, hey, this is what Todd is. And, of course, I hang out with rappers. So people automatically think, oh man, first of all, I've never smoked a day in my life, never did any drugs. So, but I can act like I did. And that's the part of acting that I really enjoy. I never did it before, but I can act that role. And people like say, wow, man, dude, that's believable. Even got my dad upset one time when I acted like a drunk. Say, boy, I did that. I never drank on set. I just did a great job. We had an argument over that. But you're acting like, I said, Dad, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be an actor. So, those kind of compromises I don't mind, because if I can fool my dad, I'm good.
And in the Miss America pageant, when I was in that, like, we had, like, there were people, like, they wanted to go out and party, and the bunch of women wanted to party all night long. And I was like, I got to go to bed at 9:00 because I have to go walk on stage in a pageant in the morning. What is wrong with you, kind of thing. And I guess, like, there's a fine line between what we believe in the entertainment business and how we present ourselves. Have you ever turned down a role that wasn't, like, in line with your values?
Yes, I have. Had opportunity to do a real good one, and it just wasn't me. It's not who I am, who I want to represent to my audience and who know me. And I was okay with that. Because like I said, you know, STC Films, we make our own films too. So I could just make another film. You know what I'm saying? That's the advantage I have. But I love working and learning from other films and stuff like that and other people. And, you know, I like being on the set. I like meeting new people and stuff. But like I said, it hasn't been too much. I mean, like I said, you know, I mean, I only had to do that one time because like it was a little like I can't do that. But that's okay. You know what I'm saying? I just can't do it. But I mean, I'll give you everything else there, you know, if you want to work it. But yeah, that's the thing.
And can you tell me a little bit about, I wanted to address this with Coreleone, but I think you can handle the question.
Okay.
Do you, because music belongs in film, and without a music, a composer or the artistry, can you tell me about, do you have knowledge of what BMI and ASCAP and CSAC are?
Wow, that's a loaded one. I've written one song that's been on BMI, okay? Or I think it was ASCAP, one of those two. But they're music organizations that collect money for you when people play your music, okay? So you sign up with them in order to play your song, or whoever wants to play your song or something, and it's a way for you to collect money. So you want to be in one of those three groups there. The problem that people have is like, for instance, you saw one time, you know, you're playing my song, I should get some payment from it. And you can get in big trouble if you don't get permission and how much you're going to pay for it. And that's the part that people don't understand. So every time they play your song on the radio or the internet or whatever, you're supposed to get some residuals from it, or in a movie. You know what I'm saying? What is that deal going to be? You know, how much you're going to get paid. And a lot of people don't know that's kind of some of the things. So when you sign up with one of those groups, you know, that's, or companies, or however you want to say it, BMI or ASCAP or the other one, that's kind of, yeah. I'm
a filmmaker and I start out and I say, Todd, I want you to play the lead in my film, and we really want Coreleone's music. How do I get a mechanical license?
First of all, you know, this is why I like having Coreleone on. You deal with that, my man. Look, Coreleone, I love you, baby, because he says, Todd, don't worry about that music stuff. I got you, baby. That's why I love having Coreleone on staff, because he works that out with those entities. So when we do a film, he's already got all that stuff worked out for me. I don't have to worry about the points or anything like that. It's like whatever the deal is, that's what we sign up for. And he gets the deal done. And I will say that if you have Coreleone on your staff, that's a very smart choice. I'm telling you right now, you will not be disappointed. It's gonna be right, and you won't get sued.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about STC Films and what projects have worked on,
Okay.
and what goes into those projects from start to finish.
Woo, Kimberly! Wow, man, she's hitting it today, boy.
We don't have that much time.
I know she's making me sweat over here. I'm telling you that right now, folks. Thank you, Kimberly. But you know, we started STC Films really to help the people that are on the come up. So if you're on the come up, please contact us. What I mean by that is this: you're looking for an opportunity. You may not have the looks or whatever the case may be, but you need the real time. We're going to try to work with you with the films we produce. So far, we have 4 films. 3 of them are short films. 1 of them is a full feature film. I'm really liking C is for Change. I had some wonderful comics from DC on it. I'm telling you, I was laughing. I hope you all enjoy it when we get it finally edited and done. You know, editing like takes forever. Just to let you all know that. You know what I'm talking about, Kimberly. And
the video editing, getting it into the fine. Oh, it's so meticulous, isn't it?
Oh man, and finding the right one. I mean, you know, we burned through so many editors. It's not even funny. But you know, getting that, helping people who want to get their music out, helping people who want to, you know, we also have a acting coach on staff. Yeah, which a lot of people don't have there on the set there, but we have her working with us there to make sure you get polished and come up for that film. I recommend anybody take acting classes. It's the best thing you'll ever do for yourself. So what am I talking about here? So basically, we got 4 films. The one that really got us going though was a movie. It was it's a TV show. We haven't filmed or anything like that, Kimberly. Yet I can talk about this. It's called.
I've heard about some sitcom.
Yeah, it's a sitcom. It's called Coreleone. Don't get mad at me, but I'm hoping that's what you're doing. But it's called Finance Department for right now, and we have a really great actor that everybody knows about. That's a part of it. His name is Reggie Ball. If you don't know who he is, Reggie, little man on the 5th floor. And you know, he's a wonderful actor for this thing. I'm telling you, whoever picks up is going to be great. We have a lot of other great actors in here, but he's like one of the main ones in here playing it. It's a comedy, a lot of fun here. And like I said, that's the one we really, that's our next one we really want to kind of do right now. So, you know how it is trying to get all that stuff done. But what was really nice is Reggie said, Todd, this reminds me of when we were on Martin. This is exactly how Martin started out. And when you have that kind of credibility with someone who's been on a classic hit, that is really special. And, you know, and I love Reggie to death. And thank you, Reggie, I'm giving a shout out to my man for just wanting to be a part of our project. So love you, Reggie. Got much love for you. And yes, total love for my man there. But I got some really good people on there. And that right there really went somewhere. Hopefully we can get that going here soon.
What goes into, and you and I have been on set, but for some of the people that say, well, I want to be famous and I really just want to start a short or a film. Can you walk me through a day of filming?
Oh, boy. First of all, if you want to be famous, you're going to have to pay your dues. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. A lot of people think I'm just going to be in one film. You know, come on, dude. I'm just going to be realistic with you. It's going to probably be 5 or 6, maybe 7 or 8 films down the road. I tell people all the time, just get reels. Free projects, get your time in, because that's what it's going to take to really look good, because the more reps you get in, the better you're going to be. You know, you can practice all day long at home. You know, I was a former basketball player. So you can practice all day long, but until you play in the game, it's a whole different. When the lights are on you, all that stuff, you got to get used to it. You got to get used to different directors. Some are going to be nice. Some are going to be kind. Some are going to be mean, right? But you got to be ready to be coachable and coached up. So you got to get that film reel in. You got to get your parts down, right? You know, it's just memorizing your lines is not good enough. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been on a set and people just memorize their lines like, you know, can you do it like this? And they're just saying the part, you know, can I get a smile out of you? They can't do it. Well, I can't work with that because, you know, I need you to smile because that's how you have to deliver it. Just don't memorize it like a school play. Hey, everybody, I just kicked the football over there. That's not believable. And you have people on the set thinking, I know my lines, and it's more than that. Are you in character? Why did you kick the football over there? Are you mad or angry? Or you're laughing? Hey, man, I kicked the football over there. Or, man, I kicked the football right over there. You know, you got to be able to change up who you are to make the part convincing depending on what's happening. It's more than that. And so, you know, maybe I'm all over the place there, Kimberly, but I always tell people it's more than just memorizing your lines. Study the fight. Study what you're there to do in every scene. Study what the end goal is. Study what the overall character is supposed to be. You know, you can't be funny 100% of the time. I'm just sorry. Some people are just not that funny.
Can you tell me about a day in a life on set?
Oh, well, you get up early in the morning. You try to get everything set up for whatever scene you're doing. Your actors should be ready to come in. Whether you got your face paint, you know, not face paint, got makeup on. You know what I'm saying? You got to, when I say 7 o'clock and you got to shoot at 7 o'clock, you got to be there at 5:30, depending on what it takes time for you to get ready for that scene. You got to make sure your lines are there, right? So whatever you got to do to be ready at 7, when those lights are on, you got to be ready. I don't care what you do. If you're dead, if you can be 5 minutes beforehand and know your stuff, I'm okay with that. But a lot of people, you got to show up early. I mean, usually an hour, I would say, because a lot of stuff goes on the set. A lot of changes happen. Sometimes you even change the where you're shooting at. And to me, you know, that so you can understand the atmosphere that goes on there, what's going on there. Seeing the set helps out a whole lot. Knowing where you're going to stand. You're going to stand on top of a brick or you're going to stand on top of a building. You know what I'm saying? You got to know where you're standing. And then when you get in there, the director says, okay, ready in action, click. And then whatever it is, whoever line starts off first, you got to go. There's no pause. You got to be ready to go. You got to be ready to stay in character. And then when you're done, you know, are you really done? Or are we going to take another take? Or we're going to take it from a different angle, right? So you may have to do it again. So there's a lot of repeating what you're doing, a lot of looking at someone in the face you may like or not like, but you got to make sure you got to do the same performance every time. Another thing, too, is called continuity. A lot of people don't or forget this, who are nuances. That means if I put my hand up over here and drop it down at a certain language, they take it from another angle. I got to do the same exact thing. That's my job to do as an actor. If I don't do that, the continuity gets messed up where, yeah, this part I had my hand up, but when you shot on the other side, my hand was down. The audience gets confused, right? So those are the things you got to know as an actor that you have to do. And those are some of the nuances. I don't want to overtalk here, Kimberly.
Absolutely and definitely. And when I was young, I learned like they walked in with us and I was in acting classes at the age of under 10.
Wow.
And it was, and I'm going to ask you to do this. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, no.
Okay. So they're like, sell me this hairbrush.
Well, let me tell you, everybody, right now you have the brightest hairbrush in the world that could actually change your life. It puts on your hair just like there, folk. And let me tell you, it breezes right through. And, folk, when it goes right through your hair, I'm telling you right now, folk, look how clean it goes through. No stoppage, no nothing. And guess what? There's no hair breakage. This is the brush for you. See?
Great job. Standing ovation. But yeah, that's what they used to do to us. And we had to just do it. And I learned from different acting coaches. And I'm like, why do we have to do this? Like, what does a hairbrush have to do with being famous? And it just, that's how we would break the ice and that kind of thing. So tell me a little bit about filming with the lights, and you mentioned sound and that kind of thing. Do you, Todd, you mentioned a meltdown with sound. How do you vet somebody who is a sound engineer to make sure it's going to be perfect on take one?
I'm still working through that, Kimberly. Sometimes you get it right. Most of the time I've been getting it wrong. Yeah, I'm just burning through soundmen, burning through editors right now. But, you know, eventually I'm hoping to get the one that really, really works for us. You know, really you want to look for someone that really understands sound, has a great ear, right? And those are the hard people to find out. And usually there's sound engineers that you find in the studio, music studio, because they can hear the fluctuations, all that, how crystal clear it comes out, or if they can take some of the noise out of the sound. I mean, I was on the set where they had to trash the whole sound. The dude was paying this is a cheap set, $400 a day just for sound. And the sound was trash. That was an angry dude at the end. He was really angry. Like, dude, I paid $400 for this? And he had to redo his whole movie and bring all the actors in order to make that work. And that's so hard to do when you have to do the voiceovers. I mean, they did it on Star Wars. Remember Darth Vader? Mm-hmm. James Earl Jones was the voice of Darth Vader, but he wasn't the original voice of Darth Vader. Look it up. You know what I'm saying? The guy wasn't working. So they said, hey, James Earl, can you just do it for us? Luke, you are my father. You know what I'm saying? So James Earl did it and did a fantastic job. But those are the nuances that you run into all the time, Kimberly. And I'm still trying to master it. You know, if you know anybody that's, you know, let me know. But you try to work through all of those issues. And there's so much stuff that can happen on the set. I mean, lighting, you know, like right now, you know, lighting's not really working too well for my face. Half of it you can see, other half you can't. But,
I Most people don't realize that we're filming right now. My end of the spectrum is on a green screen. You have lighting all in your background. What goes into staging and that kind of thing? And have you ever had a staging mishap?
Oh man, all the time. I mean, it's almost like you got to expect it. I mean, if you're going to be a director, stuff is just going to happen. Most of life is just how you adapt. And I always tell people it's okay to start off broke. It teaches you a lot of ways that you can be effective. So when you have all the good stuff, you're not falling apart when, man, the lighting fell down. Don't worry about it. You just put, I know how to situate the light where we can still get it over here. So, Todd's face is not dark on this one side, right? Unless you're trying to create like a noir or some type of dark science fiction movie. But
have you ever had people like walk up to you on the streets and say, I've seen you before?
Yeah, you know what? It's the craziest thing, Kimberly. I don't consider myself, I'm Tubi famous, I guess you want to call it. I was sitting in a restaurant in DC, I guess there's 5 million views on this movie. And I don't think nobody knows who I am because most people want to walk up, they don't even know who I am. I'm okay with that. You know what I'm saying? And I was sitting at a restaurant. I won't name the restaurant because we're going to give a shout out to restaurants right now. And I was eating, and this lady says, I know you. And I look behind me and say, who's she talking to? No, you. Oh, me? I seen you on a movie somewhere. I'm like, what movie did you see me on? I saw you somewhere. We had a wonderful conversation and stuff like that. So I don't know. She said, can I sit next to you? I said, sure, sit next to me. She'll go homeless and stuff like that, but that's okay. I like people. And she sat next to me, had a wonderful conversation and stuff. And she says, thank you. I said, is everything okay? She said, yes. Thank you so much. I mean, we were in an open place and stuff like that, so I didn't feel, and I was about ready to go anyway. So spending 5 or 10 minutes talking to somebody that I didn't know. But she said, I know. It just really caught me off guard because, I guess famous is something weird. I seen you on a show or something. Like, oh, you saw something I did? Because you never think that anybody. Let me tell people, it is so hard for a lot of people to see your movie. Tell them about that, Kimberly. It is so, so many movie people take movies that you'll never see or 10 people have seen.
That is absolutely true. I'm trying to fill an audience for and hoping they show up in the cinema. Like when I premiered at a film festival once, I'm like, I don't even know if my business partner is going to come to this.
This is that real talk. You have a hit film, there's a lot of things that got to go into it. And to be recognized in that film, there's a lot of things that can go into it. You know what I'm saying? So when these people say they want to be famous, you got to do a lot of films or you got to do a right role in a film that captures you for that moment. I mean, think about it. Harrison Ford, love him dearly. He was an old dude doing, I forgot what that movie was. Yeah, Harrison Ford, he got famous doing Star Wars with Chewbacca and stuff, with the Wookiee and stuff. Nobody knew what a Wookiee was. I mean, we hear Mark Hamill talk all the time. We don't think this movie's going to get out anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I guess he's just going to get paid and have some fun, and hopefully nobody sees it. And who knew Star Wars was going to take off? And that's movie making.
Absolutely and definitely. And other than, you can't say Coreleone, okay? I'm making a rule. No, don't say Coreleone.
No Coreleone the Don. Okay, my bad. All right.
Who do you most admire inside or outside of the entertainment business?
Oh my word. See, Kimberly, you're gonna get me in serious trouble. Because I got a lot of friends, as you know. And wow. I will have to say this, inside or outside, I will have to say this honestly. One of my longtime friends, Eric Thomas, Dr. Eric Thomas, if you don't know him, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher, The Secret to Success. He's one of my best friends.
Shout out Dr. Eric Thomas.
Yeah. Dude, we just communicated not too long ago, this week. And we're always, what I liked about Eric, he's always reinventing himself. I was there when nobody knew who Eric was. Took him on radios and stuff like, who's Eric Thomas? And, hey, everybody, let me, Eric, that's how he kind of goes out. And, and just seeing Eric flow and his confidence, and he was never scared. He's like, you know, you put me in the room, I'm going to compete with anybody. And that's the thing that I try to encourage everybody. That's why he inspires me. If you go into a room, and I've been with, you know, a good friend of mine also, who's Lyon Beckwith. Give a shout out to my man, Lyon Beckwith. Yeah. You know, I don't feel anything different. I'm competing with you. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to be professional. We're going to do this scene, and we're going to respect one another when we get done. That's the kind of confidence you got to have when you get on set. You can't get awestruck like. And I met Beasley before, you know, and he's up in Omaha, Nebraska. I also know his son Mike. Well, his son Michael and I are friends on Facebook. I actually got to meet his father before he passed away. And you know, when you go on the set with those guys, you just got to come with it. You can't be timid. You can't be like, oh, man, this is wow. Who? You know what I'm saying? Whoever your favorite person is, for me, Harrison Ford would be. Man, I love Harrison Ford.
And like I was driving down the road one day, and I'm like, oh my goodness, is that Callista Flockhart? She's here. Hi, Callista. I'm an executive producer. Do you want to come on my film? I'm hawking.
Yeah. You know, hey, I got something for you. And you know, and like I said, you know, for me, I just like the joy of just working with people, finding diamonds in the rough. Kimberly, you know, that's my thing. You know, you see some of the people we sent your way and stuff like that, people I work with, and you know, giving them the opportunity. I really appreciate you, Kimberly, for doing this. And
yes, absolutely, Todd.
You know, I mean, I mean, she's really, really good. And like I said, you know, that's the thing that I really, really enjoy is making sure people have fun and they're learning and growing.
What projects would you like to take on that you have not taken on yet?
I want to do a sitcom. That's the one thing I haven't done yet. I've done all these other movies and stuff like that. They're fun. I love doing them. But I really want to do a sitcom. I really want to do that. I've never done one before. And that's the one I probably want to do just because of the experience. You know, I'm an experienced kind of dude. I like new things. Flashy lights.
And you know, there's like, you have like job stability with films coming up and everything, but a show would be fun. And if you could write a sitcom, what would the synopsis be?
No, I've written. See, Kimberly, some of it I can't even say that I got this one. Like I said, finance department. I can't talk about it right now, but
you can't talk about it because
I can't really talk about. Yeah, you were giving me trouble on that one because it's really, really funny. I can't use people's names on it anymore because you told me not to use their names, and I don't want to get in trouble when we get off. But that one I really, 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 really want to do, and I'm working. I mean, that one right there.
We can talk about Coreleone again if you want to talk about him.
Yeah. This is the thing with Coreleone, and it's a little bit about Sneaker. It's a little bit about his life, and like I said, it's really, really funny, and it's serious, but it's still funny. And I think a lot of people deal with these kind of situations. That's why I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm not going to say too much about it because, you know.
I walked up to somebody and I go, yeah, you're in the film business. I'm in the film business. What are you working on? And she's like, I never tell anybody before it's out what I'm working on. Somebody might take my idea.
Yeah. Kimberly, can I say something? Technically speaking, there's nothing new under the sun. I just want to point that out. It's the combinations that you put stuff together that make it new and unique. Now, if someone sees your script and they know where the storyline's going and try to copy, that's one thing, right? But technically speaking, writing a story about my life, everybody does that. You know what I'm saying? Having situations, everybody writes that. And I get it that you want to be careful of that. But at the same time, too, you know, if it's your original idea, I mean, think about this, Kimberly. How many space movies have been out there? A lot of them. How many original ones have been out there?
I was thinking about sci-fi, like how many sci-fi? Like Mork and Mindy or something.
You know, there's so many out there. There's so many ways you can go. You just have to be creative in how you present it and how you show it. to the people. That's it. It's your story. It's how you put it up. And that's what you got to concentrate on. I mean, people are going to steal. People are going to get stuff. That's why you got lawyers. That's why you sign NDAs and contracts and stuff, right? To say, hey, you stole this one. I'm going to pay for this, right? Stealing and the difference between saying, you know what, I got that idea, kind of, you know, okay, try it. See if it works. I bet you won't be the same when I do. I mean, think about it. How many people try to reproduce a Tyler Perry film? And how many of them been successful repeatedly? It's Tyler Perry. It's the way he does it, how he puts it together. All those little nuances in the film, and you're bringing it out, makes his different than everybody else's. You may try, but it's not an original Tyler Perry because Tyler Perry has his style. Sorry.
How do we see A Mother's Daughter, and how do we see more of your projects?
Well, we're working on seeing more of my projects, like I said. But A Mother's Daughter, you can see on Tubi. I guess they told me there's like 5.6 million views so far on it, so it's moving up the ladder, I guess. I just like doing movies.
That's awesome.
If one person likes my movie, great. If 10 people don't like it, I'm sorry. We're gonna do better next time. We're gonna come at you. We're gonna get better. Trust me. We're not gonna stop until we get you.
How do you get your actors and actresses? Like, a lot of people come to me and I'm like sitting there going, well, they say we want, like, Ryan knows this. We want Ryan Gosling. And I call up these people, like these agents and things, and I go, hey, and I email Ryan and I go, hey, Ryan knows this. I know my business partner and you were like sucker punching each other at the Sundance Film Festival. Will you be in my movie? So what's your suggestion on approaching people that you really want for a sitcom or a movie?
First of all, you got to have a great sales pitch and a fantastic story that fits what they're trying to do. Usually, like I said, I work with some famous comedians. I named some of them out there right now. And when I approach them, it's got to be something that they want to do. And you got to know them. That's the key. For me, I got to know you. And I got a lot of friends that are personal and stuff like that. Says, you know what? I wrote this movie. I think you'll be great in it. I think this is the kind of character you want to do. Look at it and see what you think about it. And some of them, they'll just say, Todd, I like what you write. And whenever you do, I'm there for, right? Because they like what you put on the set. See, also, too, when you're working with people, when you create a set environment that's nice, inviting, and creative. And, I'm the kind of director, I'm a little bit different than other directors. I like my input from my actors. You know what I'm saying? Because usually, I try to do the George Lucas thing. I try to pick characters that are already that way instead of you having to do some real hard acting. And the reason why I do that, because when I get you on the set and the lights camera, it's not too much molding I got to do. You still got to act, but it's not a whole lot of molding. And so with that, when they feel comfortable, when they enjoy it, guess what happens? I mean, on this other movie, hey, I need someone that can do this. Hey, Todd, I got someone. They're calling up and getting other people on other sets to do my movie. You got to be a part of this one. And that's the part you really got to concentrate on, making sure you treat the actors right. Don't treat them like they're garbage. Treat them like, hey, I want to work with Todd next time. Hey, Todd, here's what I have to say. Todd makes me feel comfortable, and the script is solid, and it's funny, and you're going to get something positive out of it.
Absolutely. And the script being solid and treating actors right, and not, and me going, Ryan going, and this is a true story, Ryan, I know you were nominated for an Oscar, but you might get an Oscar next time if you work with Chuck and I. It's like, yeah, we can polish the script, but Ryan, call me. My number is.
Hey, whatever you got that relationship. Like I said, I've just been blessed enough to have people, when I'm doing a movie, they call up other actors and say, you need to be in this movie because Todd has this role and he's looking for somebody. And I've just been fortunate enough, Kimberly, to not have to really try hard. I got like several groups
Don't
that
act desperate.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, like I said, I'm giving a big shout out to Lyon Beckwith because he really gets people for me. Another one of my friends, I forgot her name, she's slipping my mind. She gets other people for me from her acting class. A lot of acting studios or acting classes I go to say, hey, you have an up and coming actor.
Really good point.
You know what I'm saying? Can they do this part over here? And they say, okay. And if I need an A-lister, I just say, hey, I think this script might work for you over here. You know what? This is what the character is. You want to try it? Hey, Todd, I saw that, man. Yeah, I want to do that. And they come on there. And like I said, Mike Washington came off the tour with Cheryl Underwood. And he said, Todd, I only had one day with him. He said, Todd, all you got is about 8 hours from me. And he came on set. And he actually stayed longer because he enjoyed it. And he called me back and said, Todd, whatever you do, man, if you need voiceovers because stuff happens, I'm there for it. And that kind of camaraderie, you want to build a lifelong friendship with everybody, even people who don't do so well on the set. You never know when they're going to blossom and become a flower.
And I know I'm taking up so much of your time. I really don't want to, but you bring up a good point about voiceovers. What is your thoughts on this AI now?
Well, let's just be real. And this is just my thought on it. Just my pure thought. AI is to replace people. That's it. And you got to understand, people are not replaceable. Original stories. I mean, AI is there to try to piece all these different combinations to make a story, to make characters and make it believable. But let's just be real. When you make something too perfect, the eye has a problem. Because the eye recognizes imperfection on an everyday basis. Now, I'm not saying that AI can't. They'll probably get the algorithms right. But think about the original stories. If you're creating stories that are copycat, Marvel found this out. People get tired of those stories. Okay, can you give me something I've never seen before? Where's that going to come from? And
I agree with you. And I fought so hard. I'm like, no, I can do a better job. My actors and actresses can do a better job. And I'll pay for actors and actresses. Go away, AI. Go away.
And AI is betting that people in the next 10 to 15 years are not going to be able to do work. That's what they're banking on, and they can make a whole lot of money on presenting, hey, I came up with this wonderful idea and do it, and poof is gone. They may or may get there, but that's where they want to go. And so we got to be better on set. We got to have better script. We got to have better involvement so we create a better product. We can't make copycat stuff anymore because that's what AI is banking on. It's just going to look at it and say, hey, these are successful movies. I'm in IT. These are successful movies. We put these combinations together, and here, voila, here you have it. Now, some of it may be close to it, or some of it may get people like, yeah, and you can do it cheaply. But in the end, you're just going to make copycats of what's already been out there. Where's the original stuff going to come from? That's always my question. When's that person, having a flaw on someone's body actually can look sexy?
Absolutely and definitely. And can you give us a quote to inspire your audience?
Okay. One of my favorite quotes, I believe, is Eleanor Roosevelt. Great minds talk about ideas. Average minds talk about places and events, and small minds talk about people. I have also Speakers Bureau. Yes, I do work with Dr. Thompson. His mom is on my Speakers Bureau, but I also have great people like Carlin Alford, Leah Mills Chapman, Dr. Montague, Irvin Daphnis, Joe Kibble, McCole Dyson, Trey Hayden, Mitch, and Carol Griffiths. I'm going through this for a reason. Brian Rotz, Dr. Fells, and Desmond Pringle. And the reason why I mentioned all those names there as my speaker, we go to all these places, schools, wherever you want, and we want to change lives. And to change lives, everybody in my speakers bureau has an idea that they want to make a difference. See, money, you've been around rich people. Okay, you're going to buy everything. Well, what else can you do? But making a difference in people's lives and making this place, it sounds cliche, in a better place, that's what I'm all about. That's what I like to do, is make the world. I used to work with schools in Omaha, Nebraska with Warren Buffett's friends. Yes, I knew Omaha Steaks guy used to give me steaks and stuff like that. But changing those schools, making from the bottom go to the top, that is my biggest high. And when you can make that kind of positive difference and change people's mind, you're doing films about, hey, drugs, we need to, you know what I'm saying? You're depicting them in hopes that someone says, I don't want to do it. That's the kind of stuff that I'm all about, is making that positive change to say, hey, there's other ways that you can get high that's safe, happy, and guess what? Long term, you're going to be much happier. So will your spouse. And I think that that's the part right there that really gets me, Kimberly, is I love making a difference in people's lives. I mean,
and that is the difference in this entertainment business and in the world of what we deliver, is where it comes from, in the soul. Anything else you want to share with us before we wrap?
Well, you know, like I said, you know, before we go here, like I said, Kimberly, you know, I love working with people. You love working with people. You like making things special. And you know what? Special people, let's get together and make something special. If you want to contact me, you know what I'm saying? I guess I'm supposed to give my contact information out now.
Yes. How do we reach out to you, and how would one book you?
Yes. So you can reach out to me. I have a website called Sustain the Changes. That's plural, sustainthetechanges.com. You can email me from there if you want, or you can use an email that I have, to sustainthetechanges@gmail.com. If you want me to act for you or do anything with you. Like I said, I'm open for all ears. I like to listen to, you know, people, you know, make sure you have an NDA and stuff so you can't say I stole something. So don't be, you know, you got to be legit. You know, don't be sitting up there like, man, I got this idea. Hey, Todd stole it. No, we won't talk about what you're doing, you know, but if you're interested, we can have that first conversation there. And, you know, don't tell me the details. Just say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What's it about and what I'm doing? And I don't mind working with you. And like I said, I love working with people. If you're on the come up, if you think you're good, whatever, love to see you. You know, Kimberly, you go through tons of auditions. You're probably going like this at the end, like, okay, thank you. And it takes a very special person to go through that many auditions and finally found the one that I think this is it. I mean, because everybody has a bad day. How many times have you had someone reapply like, oh, you know what? We missed that. And so, you know, that's the kind of stuff that we want to try to do is help people.
Absolutely. And that's what Sustain the Change is all about, right?
Mm-hmm. That's all it's all about. Making positive changes and sustaining it for your next.
What position did you play as a basketball player?
I played a point guard. I was not tall. I was short. I had a chance to play some. I had a chance to have some scholarships to play Division I, but my parents said no. They didn't say no. I just realized. Let me go back a little. My cousin played for the University of Michigan. We played a pickup game. He did a tomahawk dunk on myself and my cousin, and I realized I'm not Division I ready. That's when I realized I'm not playing pro ball at this point. Let me find another career at this point.
Absolutely, and most people don't know I played basketball as a kid, and I was a better cheerleader than a basketball player. But I did learn from my coach was in a wheelchair. So that taught me a little bit about life.
Yeah.
And we take away so many things from different people and energies. And one last question before we wrap.
Okay.
Tell me about a story where you made a difference and what you learned.
Wow. I got a podcast called Mom and Dad Talks. First of all, my mom and dad are not really eloquent in the cyberspace world. Let's just put it like that. Computers are not them. And it was a real pain doing this show for 20 minutes that took 8 hours to do. It was a pain. In fact, I was wondering, like, why am I doing this? And we were on a show talking, and all of a sudden, for whatever reason, we didn't do a show that day. And I got a message from a person that I worked with in Omaha, Nebraska when he was a young kid. He said, Todd, this is the only positive thing I get. Please don't stop doing this. And we've been doing Mom and Dad Talks now for like 5 years because that made a difference in his life. And if it's just for him, I'm all happy for it. I think there's a lot more people. Like I said, I'm on a radio show. just because I wanted to make a difference. And like I said, I think about that young man. If I stop doing what I'm doing, they're going to stop. So I can't stop. So like I said, you know, you can see us on Dobby Radio and all this other stuff there with that podcast. But, you know, that's the other thing I do.
You don't know ever who you're reaching, how you're impacting their lives, and what they're looking forward to in the day. I appreciate your time, Todd. Happy Labor Day to you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Kimberly. You're awesome. You rock.